Friday, the thrill of scoring the best deals, the rush of adrenaline as doors swing open, and the madness of crowded aisles. It's supposed to be exciting, even fun, right? But beneath the flashing sales signs and the scramble for bargains, there's another side to each side most people don't see. A side that lingers in the shadows, waiting for the chaos to drown out the screams. Imagine walking into a store full of strangers and leaving with a fear you can't shake, a memory you wish you could forget, or a loss you never saw coming. Tonight, I'm sharing 3 stories that will change the way you think about Black Friday forever. These aren't just tales of greed or mischief, they're moments that left lives forever scarred. So, buckle up, because these stories will stay with you long after the crowds have gone. It was our favorite tradition, Black Friday shopping. Emma and I loved it. The thrill of the hunt, the rush of scoring the best deals, it was our thing. Last year, we decided to hit the biggest mall in the area. The deals were insane. The crowd was wild, but we were ready. Or at least I thought. Emma spotted a laptop she wanted. I stayed back in line while she went to grab it. "Be quick," I told her, and she smiled her usual, confident grin and disappeared into the sea. That was the last time I saw. 10 minutes passed, then 20. People behind me started grumbling as the line moved forward, but Emma didn't come back. I texted her, no response. I called her straight to voice. That's when I knew something was off. I asked around, but no one remembered seeing her. The staff was polite but dismissive. They assured me she'd probably show up soon, maybe just caught in the crowd. But I knew she wouldn't just vanish. I asked to see the security footage, and what I saw sent chills through me. Emma was there one moment, heading toward the back of the store, and then, nothing. She just disappeared. There were no other exits back. I don't know why I opened the door. Maybe I thought Emma had accidentally wandered in, but the second I stepped inside, I knew something wasn't right. It smelled like decay. The room was cluttered with abandoned shopping bags, broken boxes, and what looked like old dusty mannequins leaning against the wall. I grabbed Emma's bag, my heart pounding, and that's when I heard it. A faint rustling behind me. I turned, but the room was empty, or so I thought. A sudden hand grabs my arm. I spinned around, startled, to find a stern security guard. He yanked me out of the room, his grip firm. "You shouldn't be in here," he said, his voice low. "Go back to the main floor." Now, when I tried to argue, he leaned in closer and whispered, "Trust me, you don't want it." I drove home that night, clutching Emma's bag like it was a lifeline. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think. Then, around 3 a.m., my phone. I answered, desperate to hear her voice. But all I got was static. And then, breathing. Faint, shallow, like someone was struggling to inhale. I kept shouting her name, but no one replied. The line went dead. I reported her disappearance to the police. The store staff claimed they had no idea what happened, and the footage they showed me mysteriously disappeared. Weeks turned into months, and Emma was declared missing. But she wasn't just missing, she was gone, erased, like she never existed. It's been years now, but every Black Friday, I remember that phone call. I remember the smell of that storage room. And I wonder, did I miss something? Could I have done more? Or is she still out there, somewhere, trying to come back? I've always hated Black Friday. The crowds, the noise, the pushing and shoving for things we don't even need. It's chaos. But Lisa, she loved it. So when she begged me to go to the midnight sale at our local department store, I gave in. It was crowded, loud, and exhausting. I thought the worst thing I'd deal with that night was a packed parking lot. I was wrong. It turned out to be the most terrifying night of my life. By the time we finished, the store was practically deserted. We were relieved to get out of there. But as we headed to the car, I saw Hema Man standing by a van under a flickering light. He wasn't shopping. He wasn't unloading anything. He was just watching us. Lisa laughed it off, said I was being paranoid. but I couldn't shake the feeling. He wasn't just standing there, he was waiting, watching. We walked to our car. I glanced back and noticed the man was gone. I exhaled, assuming the danger has passed. As we loaded the car, headlights suddenly flashed on, and the van began to creep toward us. The van started moving, slow and deliberate. I could feel my heart pounding. I wanted to brush it off, tell myself he was just another shopper heading home. But as we pulled out of the parking lot, the van followed us. At first, I told myself it was a coincidence, but every turn we made, the van followed. Lisa tried to keep me calm, saying we'd lose him if we got to the freeway. But when we turned onto a side street near our neighborhood, so did he. We tried to laugh it off, but I couldn't relax. Something about the way he stared at us in the parking lot didn't feel random. And that night, it got worse. Around 3 a.m., Lisa woke me up. She swore she heard someone tapping on the windows. I tried to brush it off and said it was probably tree branches in the wind. But when I went to check, I saw them footprints. Fresh, muddy prints leading straight to our back door. It was him. I could feel it. He was standing just far enough away that I couldn't make out his face, but I knew. I froze, and then he stepped back, disappearing into the darkness. The cops showed up, took a look around, but by then, he was gone. No van, no footprints, nothing. They told us to stay vigilant and let them know if we saw anything else. But how do you stay vigilant against someone who seems to vanish into thin air? We thought it was over. A week passed, and we started to feel normal again. Then, Lisa got a package in the mail. No return address, just her name, written in blocky, uneven handwriting. The note said, "See you next year." That was it. No explanation, no threat. But it was enough. We packed our things and moved within the month. We didn't want to wait around to see if he meant it. It's been years since that night. We've moved twice since then. But every Black Friday, I can't help myself. I sit by the window and check the street, waiting for headlights, wondering if he'll show up again. I don't know who he was or what he wanted, but one thing's for sure, I'll never feel safe on Black Friday again. Working retail during Black Friday is like stepping into another world, a chaotic, frenzied version of reality, where people lose their minds over half-off TVs and cheap toasters. That year, I was working at a discount store, pulling the graveyard shift. The night started as normal as Black Friday could be, but by the time my shift ended, I knew I'd never set foot in that store again. It was just past 2 in the morning when my manager asked me to grab more stock from the basement. The crowd had died down, and I was happy to get away from the chaos for a few minutes. The basement was old, much older than the rest of the store. The walls were made of crumbling brick, and the lighting was dim at best. At first, it seemed normal enough. Rows of shelves packed with boxes, the hum of the building's heating system in the background. But as I moved deeper into the basement, the air felt heavier, stale, like it hadn't been touched in years. That's when I noticed something strange. There were boxes down there I'd never seen before, old, dusty ones shoved into the corner. They weren't on our inventory list, and they definitely didn't belong to the store. But that wasn't what made me uneasy. In the corner of my eye, I saw movement. I turned to look at the mirror, and for a second, I thought I saw someone standing behind me, a man, tall and thin, with hollow eyes. But when I turned around, no one was there. I laughed at myself, chalking it up to exhaustion. I grabbed the boxes I needed and headed back to the stairs. But just as I reached for the doorknob, I heard it whispers, faint and echoing, like they were coming from all around me. My heart started pounding. I told myself it was the pipes or the heating system, but deep down, I knew better. I told my manager what happened. He just laughed, said the basement has always been a little creepy, but that didn't mean I could leave the job unfinished. Reluctantly, I went back down, but this time, I wasn't alone. We were almost done when the door slammed shut behind us. I jumped out of my skin. but the guard stayed calm and said it was probably the wind. It wasn't just banging. There were screams, too muffled and distant, like they were coming from behind the walls. I wanted to run, but the door wouldn't budge. It was locked from the inside. The guard pulled me aside and told me something that chilled me to my core. He said the basement used to be a fallout shelter back in the 1950s. During a fire, a group of people got trapped down there. They never made it out. He didn't know if the stories were true, but after what I experienced, I didn't need proof. I quit that job as soon as the holiday season ended. I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, that stress and exhaustion had gotten the better of me. But every now and then, I dream about that basement. In my dreams, I hear the whispers again, and when I wake up, it feels like someone's watching me. Black Friday, a night of bargains, chaos, and unrelenting crowds. But beneath the surface of the midnight madness lies something far more unsettling. For some, it's a night of celebration, of deals scored and items checked off a wish list. But for others, it's a night they'd rather forget, a night that haunts them long after the sales are over. So tell me, was it the chilling disappearance of Emma? The relentless presence of a stranger who refused to be ignored? Or the whispers from the past that linger in a store's forgotten basement? Which story will follow you into the night? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We're always eager to hear what sends a shiver down your spine. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon for more tales that will keep you up at night. Thank you for watching. And remember, sometimes the scariest things aren't found in the dark corners of your home. Sometimes they're right there in the places you least expect. Until next time, stay safe and maybe shop online instead.